Welcome to 3 Point Play Sports. I'm your host, Louis Stanridge. Joining me after more than a few weeks away and his booze cruise to Mexico, my co-host, Kyle Verska.
What's the equivalent of a booze cruise if you go in the air, Louis? I don't know. I got nothing. But yeah, it's been great. It's been time since I've seen you. I've missed you very much. Sorry to the audience that there was 1 week where we didn't have a podcast out. I'll not say who to blame for that, but we're back. We're going to finish the final 4 weeks strong, Lou.
Yeah, absolutely.
The regular season into the playoffs, obviously.
Yeah. Well, we're at the stretch run here. We've got 4 more weeks of action, right?
Four.
Yeah.
Four. I've got a separate goals from you, but, we both have goals here for the final 4 weeks.
Well, I think the fantasy football playoffs are throwing me off because they go to week 17, and so for a lot of purposes, my football season ends there, but not for picks can pick 'em. So we got 4 weeks, got to make it finish strong. I've had a little bit of a tough time the last 2 weeks. I think week 13, I think I finished 8-6. Last week was 6-8, so roughly 500 for me the last 2 weeks. How'd you do last week?
Also 6-8, which gives us I think the second time that we've tied all year.
Mm.
Maybe the first, either the first or second time we've tied all year. So my excuse was I was in Mexico, rarely coherent.
Yeah, but you were in Mexico the week before and you went 10-2, didn't you? Or 10-3?
I went 11-3.
Yeah, you should have stayed in Mexico.
I made those picks before I departed.
You should just plan on leaving for Mexico every week and make your picks.
Look, if possible, I would totally leave for Mexico every week.
Yeah, it's not too bad. All right.
Yeah.
How did we do on our locks and everything?
So locks. I had my first 3-0 week though. I had Browns, Saints, but the Browns didn't cover. That's right. They should have covered. They didn't. So
that was stupid. Yeah,
very, very dumb. Okay, sorry. 2-1. You went 1-2. You had the Bills, the Bears, and the Broncos. You only got the Broncos out of that one. Should have gotten the Bills. Yeah. Got dipped in overtime, but that gave me a win with the Bucks. Thursday, I had the Steelers. They almost had another just nuts comeback to cover. You had the Vikings, so you got that correct. Dog to win outright, I had the Steelers. Again, bad for most of the game, and then almost pulled it off and then didn't. You had the Bears, who got just absolutely ripped, which I don't know why you chose the Bears against Aaron Rodgers, who owns the Bears.
I mean, the way they were playing the first half, they were up 27-17. That's exactly why I thought that was the team.
They had 2 non-offensive touchdowns. Is that right? I know they had 1 for sure.
Yeah, but you have to keep in mind, too, the way the Bears were playing right the last 2 weeks that Justin Fields was healthy. He was playing pretty well. And I know, and even before that, when they played the Packers in the first matchup, they were right there through most of the first half, and then the end of the second quarter was just sequence from hell. So they
were right there for most of the first half, and then lost by 10.
Right. Okay. I mean, it was a little bit lesser of how this last game played out. I mean, and you're gonna tell me that, the Bears in this second matchup, they were up 27-17, and you're not feeling good about covering 12.5. It's just like, come on. Not to mention having the ball, driving down. So would they end up losing by 15? They were down by 18, driving for a touchdown. They settle for a field goal, which just Nagy, just beyond stupid. Then they end up getting the ball back and still not covering. I have not complained all season about some bad beats, but between the Ravens and the Bears and the Bills and the Bengals, it was just one after another. It was slap in the face. It was probably the toughest week I've had. I think I can think of all season.
So I just want to point out, you said that Fields had been playing well since that first game against Green Bay when he was 59 touchdown and pick, which was a whatever game for a rookie, it's fine. He went since then he's gotten 4 touchdowns and 7 interceptions.
Are you including the Green Bay game though?
Yeah, I'm including the 24 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks that he just put up.
Yeah,
the game before interception, fine, 5 touchdowns, 8 picks. Okay. Great.
I mean, I just thought it was good enough.
Just saying, Justin Fields, it's been a tough year for him, and it's not his fault. I'm not blaming him.
I mean, Mac Jones is going to win Rookie of the Year almost by default, just because he's been
Jamar Chase.
No, that's not what the betting odds are saying.
Well, yeah, of course, Vegas always correct. We forgot. Continue on, highest scoring team. I had the Titans, you had the Cowboys, you won by 7. The Chiefs were the correct answer for the first time all year. They put up 48 on Gus Bradley's terrible defense because he continues to play cover 3 against the Chiefs when we just know too high work them. And then random or week-to-week bet, you came agonizingly close. You said 200-plus rush yards and 3 touchdowns. You came up 16 yards short. I had Titans 200-plus rush yards and 3 touchdowns. I came up like 70 yards short and a touchdown. So
yeah,
pretty close for you.
Yeah, I liked where your head was at on that one. It just didn't work out for me either. But they were pretty close.
So it happens.
All right, week 15. Let's go ahead and kick it off. We have, of course, the best Thursday night game of the season. And I haven't complained about it enough relative to past seasons. But, again, why are we playing Thursday night football I mean, for one, I've got a lot of problems with it in general, even though I do guilty pleasure love Thursday night football. But why are we playing this deep into the season? The guys are exhausted, and you're giving them
last one
3 days rest. I think, honestly, if you're going to do it, you still need to do either bye week before, bye week after, or at the very least stop it at like week 12. This is brutal. We're gonna leave this game and like half the studs are probably gonna be injured.
Well, are half of them even ready going in due to this COVID outbreak across all sports? This is the last one, and at least we're going out with a bang.
All right.
I can tell you. That's my sell to you. Take it or leave it.
Kansas City Chiefs absolutely dismantled the Raiders. Embarrassing for the Raiders to come out midfield and then lay an egg. And then
just that stuff never works. Why does any team do it? It never works.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just and they're on the road to face the Los Angeles Chargers. So Chargers are plus 3.5. Chargers quietly, I think, dominated the Giants. Probably many more storylines going on, but they took care of business at home as well. Chiefs, they've completely pulled a 180 in the last month, I believe. May coincide with Melvin Ingram coming on board. Who do you think takes this one?
Listen, as long as the Chargers aren't playing cover 3 versus the Chiefs, it's going to be really tough for the Chiefs to score, I think, because that's all we've seen all year. I think the most points they put up all year when it's not the Raiders is 27, and then they've hung 41 and 48 on the Raiders. So they're not playing the Raiders this week. We're getting more than a field goal at home with a good offense. I'll take the Chargers. The Chiefs' defense has been revelatory over the last 6-7 weeks, and I don't really know exactly what happened, but here we are. So good for them. That's the reason that they're winning. Their offense still hasn't been very good, except for last week, but again, facing a different defense. So I like the Chargers here, who have been playing well lately.
It's really fascinating the way teams, I'd say between the Cowboys last year and the Chiefs in Washington this year, have looked like complete historically bad units, and then they'll go on a 3 or 4 week stretch where they, I would say, play like a top 12 defense. And it's just the NFL, and I think a lot of it's credit to adjustments. I think a huge part of it is Ingram coming on board. and probably Daniel Sorensen not being. I don't think he's starting anymore. But I'm going to take the Chargers here. This matchup, and I know I said this about the Raiders last week because I took the Raiders, and I think you did too. These divisional matchups typically play pretty tight, and I think even when the Chiefs have been on a roll, the Chargers have competed with them the last 2 or 3 years. So I'm going to take the Chargers at home. I know there's no home field advantage. It really doesn't matter to me. I think the Chargers are just very capable of even winning this game outright and very capable of competing with them score for score. Of course, the way to get the Chargers is to run on them. I don't know if the Chiefs have the patience to do that, and I'm still waiting to see. I think if the Chiefs come out and they dominate the Chargers, I think I'm 100% back on board with the Chiefs. I think we can really definitively put the first 2 months of the season behind us. But if the Chiefs come out and they have the same kind of impatient offensive struggles that they had the first 2 months, I think we have to have that same hesitation that we had.
So I want to clean something up real quick. The Chiefs hadn't scored more than, I think, 20 points since that Washington win when they won 31-13 like 8 games ago. The most they'd scored was 20 against the Giants, except against the Raiders, or 22 versus Broncos, and then they put up 41 and 48 on the Raiders. So the offense had really been struggling ever since that Washington win, and then they put up 89 on the Raiders over 2 games.
Yeah. Well, impressive, but Chiefs are more often than not impressive. I didn't mention this, but it's something that stood out to me. I believe favorites went 9-4-1 last week, which I think is a credit as part of the reason why I didn't do as well, because I'm just never going to bet that many favorites. And then overs went about the same. I want to say like 10-3, 10-4, something like that. So I feel like this is a good week to play contrarian, sharp, underdog plays. I'm typically try to keep it even on both sides, but I definitely feel a lot better about the underdog sharp plays this week.
And I think we had 2 scoregamis last week.
I don't keep track of how many, but I definitely know there was at least one.
Well, the Chiefs Raiders was one, and then I need to find what the other one was real quick. So anyway, we can move on.
All right, Saturday afternoon. Don't remember Saturday happening this early in the season, week 15. But here we go. Raiders, after the embarrassment in Kansas City, now on the road to face Cleveland Browns. Browns here without Baker Mayfield, yet I think this is the line that was laid out there before that news.
No coach.
So Browns here -6.5. I'm actually rolling with the Browns here. I think Case Keenum should not be that much of a downgrade. We've seen him come in and play competent football. He can be a game manager, and that may be all that the Browns need, because I still think their defense is better than average. I think they can run the ball, and I think they can run the ball on these Raiders. I didn't watch the game against the Ravens last week, and it's bizarre to me that Huntley was able to come back on them like that. But I'm going to look more towards the fact that they got up, 24-6 before that happened. So I think they're in a good spot. In the Raiders, I think they've reached the point of the season where they know nothing's going to happen, and this is a letdown week.
Okay, so let me just read off all the people who are on the COVID list for the Browns. You ready?
Okay.
Baker Mayfield, Kevin Stefanski, John Johnson, Troy Hill, Malik McDowell, Jarvis Landry, Wyatt Teller, Austin Hooper, Jedrick Wills, Tack McKinley, and then some people who don't really matter. But those first 10 people all matter. All on COVID right now. If they're going to miss that many people, I'm just going to lock the Raiders and take advantage of the 6.5 against a completely depleted team. This is like the Nets playing with 8 against the Raptors earlier this week. If those people, and most of those people come back, I'll switch to the Browns probably. But as of recording, locking that 6.5.
And I'm telling you, it's a trap. It's a perfect
Go
teaser
ahead.
game. Perfect because how many people are going to come in? Now the line, I think, is down to almost pick 'em, maybe 1.5.
Right.
Given how much the public bankrolled last weekend, there's 3 or 4 games on the schedule this week that are absolute, just easy plays for the public, and those are the ones you absolutely have to fade. This is one
Right,
of them.
but aren't people gonna take the Browns -1? Wouldn't the public take the Browns -1?
Do you think they would?
The Raiders 6.5. I'm not taking the Raiders +1.
I see you're definitely getting value here, obviously, because 6.5 down to 1. I just think there's going to be so much money coming in slamming on the Raiders. Judging from what Action Network is showing,
I'm thinking we're gonna get a middle here. Is the most likely outcome.
yeah, it's possible. I think, yeah, okay. You make some good points. I'm going to stick with Brown 6.5.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right.
Points.
I mean, given the way the Raiders laughably laid an egg last week, wouldn't the perfect follow up to that be losing to the
Just
Browns?
getting blowed out by Case Keenum.
Yeah, back-to-back weeks, and it's time to fold it in for the season. Next game up, also Saturday. New England Patriots 9-4 on the road to face Indianapolis Colts 7-6. I believe both of these teams are coming off bye weeks. I think the last time we saw the Patriots, Mac Jones, Rookie of the Year, future Rookie of the Year, threw 3 passes as the New England Navy shipmen ran all over the Buffalo Bills. Colts -2.5. Who do you like?
I love Belichick versus Carson Wentz, so I'm going to take the Pats +2.5 simply based on that. Because the Pats are going to do whatever they can to suffocate Jonathan Taylor, right? So here you go, Carson Wentz, beat us, and I just don't see that happening. This is going to be a lot like the Pats Rams Super Bowl from a couple years ago, where it's just going to be like 10-3.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Under on this game, and I'll take the Pats.
Would you put here's a fun side bet we'll do for the week. I bet the leading scorer in this game is a field goal kicker. Is a kicker, not a field goal kicker. A kicker.
Okay, so you're saying that a field goal kicker is probably kicking 3 field goals, and there might be 1 touchdown, but the 3 field goals is going to win? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, if you get a touchdown, there's a point too.
Basically, if there's 1 touchdown, there's going to be a kicker who puts up 3 field goals.
Even 2 field goals because you get the extra point.
Fair. Although, they'll probably just go for 2. Now, you can have that as your week-to-week bet. Okay. I don't want to go against that. I like that one.
Yeah. Well, we're in alignment on that thinking, which of course that means this game's going to be 35-28.
Yeah.
I'm locking the Colts. I think the Patriots have been playing very, very well for about 6-7 weeks. What was the last time that they lost a game or didn't play well? The Cowboys? Does that sound right?
What?
The last time they didn't play
Sorry,
well?
what'd you say?
When was the last time the Patriots did not play well or lost a game?
It's been a while.
Right. I think it was the Cowboys. And it's been almost 2 months, I think.
But they played well in that game. They went into overtime in that game.
Not as well as they've played since then.
Okay, so here's the thing, Lou. They've won 8 of their past 9 games, and that 1 loss was to Dallas in overtime.
Yeah.
So you tell me which ones they didn't play well in. I would argue they didn't play well in Houston the week before because they were down like 17-0, and then came back and won.
Sure, take that one. I think they're due for a letdown. Occasionally I like to just play, do you ever play craps?
No, I don't understand it.
Okay, well, then
Not smart enough.
my
Well, you can like bet against the person
Yeah,
rolling the dice.
that's what I feel like I'm doing here. Is somebody's got a hot hand that's the Patriots, and I'm this one guy at the whole table who's just quietly rooting against everybody. That's me with the Colts.
How upset will you be if, like, late in the third quarter, Jonathan Taylor has 13 carries for 21 yards?
I mean, I don't think it necessarily is up to Jonathan Taylor. Here's the thing for me is that like they could stop Jonathan Taylor, but the thing is like the Colts offensive line has been playing so well that I think it is not necessarily. It's not like the Patriots just magically get to take away whatever they want, and it's going to
Yeah,
happen.
but they have a long history of doing that.
I know, but I mean, when they lose games, it's because they don't pull that off successfully. And what I'm saying is like they could, I mean, make that their approach, of course, but almost every team's going to make that their approach, and they'll probably execute it better. But Michael Pittman or Wiley Cox, whoever, are going to be able to
enjoy enjoy Carson Wentz over Bill Belichick. Just
well, all right. Next game up. On to Sunday early afternoon. Panthers 5-8 after a horrendous showing against the Falcons last week. On the road to face Buffalo Bills, who 7-6. Kyle, for a team that had Super Bowl aspirations, has been the biggest disappointment of the season. Josh Allen was in a boot post game, and then he's been seen out and about without a boot since then. So I don't know what the deal is. I'm leaning towards he's probably okay. But the thing is how much can you rely on Cam Newton on the other side anyway? So Bills minus 10.5 here. I'm taking the Bills. I actually think this is. I mean, I've been on the Bills more often than not lately, just because I keep expecting them to bounce back, and it seems like they have one good game and then they shit the bed for 2 weeks. So I think this is the game they show up for. They're at home. Cam Newton has looked not great the last 2 weeks. So it gives me the Bills to come out and finally perform well.
Can I ask you a question to get into my pick here?
What's that?
What the fuck was that from the Panthers last week? They're just, here, we're going to play Cam. Oh, you made a mistake. We're going to play P.J. Walker. Oh, you made a mistake. We're going to put Cam back in. Like, just ride with one. Stop doing this push and pull, Matt Rule. How long is Matt Rule going to actually be the coach? Where are we at on that?
I'm completely out on him. I think he's made a ton of questionable decisions. And, I mean, when you do that kind of stuff, it's bizarre. They already canned Joe Brady. You can tell they're feeling the pressure. I think, look, they're 5-8. They're just like, they're eager to do anything to win. But the thing is like, it's just not happening, man. Christian McCaffrey's out for the season. Your offensive line is one of the bottom 5. It's not going to happen. And you could tell he was so excited when Cam Newton came and won that first game. And he thought, oh, now I've got my savior. It's like, well, there's a reason Cam Newton has had trouble getting a job.
Got it. So this is like the perfect Bills line because they're 0-5 in games decided by a score, and all of their wins are by like 15 or more. So it's like the perfect line. If you think the Bills are going to win, then they're going to cover.
Yeah.
If the Bills are going to lose, then they're probably by a touchdown or less. So I'm with you on the Bills. Panthers just packed it in. Like, there's no hope for them. They were in the playoff race a few weeks ago, and then they are just played their way out of it. Their defense has been a disaster. Yeah, I'll take the Bills. And Josh Allen was great last week, and to just come up short, to get them all the way into overtime and then lose on that, it's just tough. So bounce back for the Bills, who've lost 2 straight here.
Yeah. All right. We're alignment there. Next game up, New York Jets 3-10 on the road to face Miami Dolphins. Dolphins here 6-7. They are, I believe they've won 5 straight, or 4 straight. I believe they've covered at least 5 straight, and they are coming off a bye.
They've won 5 straight.
Okay. And they're coming off a bye. So just add that to the checks in their favor. I think the only thing not in their favor is they have 2 injured running backs and then 2 on COVID list. So they've got Duke Johnson up from the practice squad as of the last I heard. Maybe one of those COVID players will be able to come back before the game, but as of right now, Duke Johnson was the only available running back. I'm sure they'll get a couple guys signed for depth, but Michael Carter may be coming off IR for the Jets. So who do you like in this one?
A little further notice, I'm out on the Jets. What have they done recently? Give you any sort of confidence whatsoever. Dolphins followed up that nice 7-game losing streak with a 5-game win streak here, coming off a bye. They are squarely in the playoff picture, and they finish, Lewis. I want you to tell me how many wins they're going to get here. Home for the Jets, at the Saints, at the Titans, home for the Pats, who probably won't have anything to play for, or will have little to play for in the final week of the year. So 4 games left. How many of those are the Dolphins winning?
I mean, you probably maybe all 4. I mean, it's hard to say no, right?
Yeah,
and probably 3-1 is reasonable.
Yeah, I think that's where they're headed. Which, if they were losing 7 straight, to finish 9-8 would be pretty good job by them. So, I'm just gonna take the Dolphins here, coming off a bye at home against the hapless Jets and really terrible Zach Wilson.
I'm actually. I've got to stop.
Do it.
It's a bad addiction, but I'm backing the Jets here. A large part of that is Michael Carter coming back on the Jets side, and Duke Johnson being the running back for the Dolphins. It's just the way you play the Jets is to run the ball.
Can I interest you in a great website called rbsm.com?
Is that some kinky stuff or what?
Do you know what that stands for?
Is that like BDSM?
It is not. It's real close. Runningbacks.matter.com. rbsdm.com.
Okay.
Lewis, don't matter. They don't matter. Great. Good. I'm glad we're talking running backs. Get out of here.
Look, if they want to throw 30 times to Jalen Waddle, I'm all for it.
I'm sure you are. I'm just saying that, like, Michael Carter coming back isn't going to do much for them.
But he's been more productive. He's been more productive than Tevin Coleman and Ty Johnson.
Yeah, 100%. But you know who's not productive? Zach Wilson.
That's true. I never thought I'd be in a position to so eagerly want Joe Flacco to come back. Oh,
the Dolphins are 8th against the run this year. Just an FYI.
Well, I think that may have a lot to do with the fact that teams have had a lot of success passing on them.
The Dolphins' pass defense is 5th worst.
Right. To my point.
Yeah, just adding some context there for you.
All right.
Sounds smart.
I'm on the Jets. You're on the Dolphins. Can't wait. Next game up, the Washington professional football team, probably without Taylor Heineke. Probably without Terry McLaurin. Definitely without Logan Thomas.
Yeah. Maybe with not playing Antonio Gibson because he can't hold on to the football.
I mean, Gibson's going to be running the Wildcat in the entire offense, from what it seems like. Probably 40 touches. So, on the road to face Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles here -4.5. This is... The another thing, too, is that I would be all over Washington here if Heineke was playing. I mean, have you heard anything about that? Is that definitive? Are we getting Kyle Allen or somebody?
I'm looking. I don't see Taylor Heineke on the injury list here on ESPN.com. So take with that what.
I'm right now.
Kyle Allen. Hold on. Kyle Allen put on the COVID list today.
Oh, great. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. If Heineke plays, I'm on Washington because Eagles, I think, have had one of a bottom 10 rush defense. And if Heineke can at least keep the pass defense honest, I think that Gibson can run on the Eagles. But if Heineke is not playing and then they just put 8 men in the box against Gibson, I'm definitely not as confident. So that's really the big thing for me. I'm taking the Eagles, assuming Heineke is not playing. If I have some bad information, then I'll go with Washington. But I think the Eagles coming off a bye, they've definitely played, I would say, more competent recently from what I can remember. Of course, 2-3 weeks ago, it seems like a lifetime. But their defense has been solid. I would say probably about average to slightly better than average. And Jalen Hurts should be able to take advantage of this Washington defense. That's the other thing.
Is he playing?
Is he out?
He didn't play last game. Gardner Minshew did.
Yeah, but that was 2 weeks ago.
I'm just asking if he's playing. That's it.
Well, I mean, is it going to be?
They are splitting practice reps this week.
Interesting. Well, it may.
He said today his elbow does not hurt. So
great. Okay. Well, then I'm on Washington. I'll switch it later.
I did too.
I mean, would you be surprised if the Eagles pull some shenanigans and Hurts plays the first half, Minshew plays the second half, something stupid like that, much like the Panthers?
That seems like the worst idea.
Yeah. I mean, what did they do in the last game of last year? They did something like that, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, but they were tanking to get a pick.
I'm just saying. The Hurts has played, I think, well enough to retain his starting job. But for some reason, since the preseason, they have just not, I think, strongly committed to him long term. So that's why I think
really
they're shenanigans.
Yeah, he was really good, like weeks, I don't know, 3 through 8 maybe. But his last few games, his last 2, he's been pretty bad. 3 picks over the last 2, no touchdowns. I mean, it's been fine running the football, but yeah, I don't know. Doesn't matter to me. I'll just take Washington as long as Heineke's playing.
Yeah. Okay. Next game up, Arizona Cardinals, 10-3, tough loss to the Rams. Looks like Hopkins is also out for the rest of the season. On the road to face Detroit Lions here. Lions 1-11-1. Lions here plus 13.5. Home underdogs. This is a tough one for me. Who do you have?
Why is it 13.5? Why can't it be 14.5? It's madness that the Lions, the worst team in the league, can't get 2 touchdowns at home against one of the 3 best teams in the NFC.
Right.
Bring me in through the back door, Jared Goff. I'll take the Lions. This is an impossible pick. The Cardinals are undoubtedly going to be up a ton in this game. Somewhere like 21-3 or 24-3, something like that. And we're just there's gonna be heartbreak if you don't have the Lions and the points. That's how I feel.
It's super tough because you can run on the Cardinals. You saw Sony Michel average 8 yards a carry for most of that game. And the Lions have a very capable offensive line and can do that. And so my thinking is, as much as they can just stick to that, they should be fine. On the other end, James Conner, I think, is questionable for this game. He was limping on the last drive against the Rams. Maybe that doesn't matter if Chase Edmonds plays. But that's what makes this game so tough, is because I understand you're thinking the back door with 13.5. I also know that if the Cardinals go up 14-0 and the Lions just are like, okay, now we have to start throwing, it's like, well, there goes the game plan, and then you're definitely losing by 30. So I also am
so hard, man.
I'm so reluctant still to take the Lions anymore the rest of the season, because the Lions, So, typically teams' overall records are very, very close to their against the spread records, right? Almost,
Sure.
you have a team that's 9-5. Typically against the spread, it's like 8-6 or something like that. The Lions are 1-11-1, but they are 8-5 against the spread.
They play hard. This is what I was going to bring up. They've only lost by more than 2 touchdowns 4 times all year. They did it to Green Bay in week 2. They lost by 18. Week 6 against the Bengals, they lost by 23. Week 8 against the Eagles, they lost by 38. And then last week, they lost by 28 at Denver. So their last 5 games, they went tie, lost by 3, lost by 2, win by 2, and then lose by 28. I don't think they're going to get annihilated 2 games in a row. Hasn't happened all year.
I mean, for right now, I'm in agreement, but
they play hard for I just had his name.
Dan Campbell.
Yeah, Dan Campbell.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't? The way you hear that guy
They're out here biting kneecaps, dude.
As of right now, I'll stick with the Lions, but I may end up changing my mind. Just putting that out there. Next game up, Dallas Cowboys, 9-4, coming off. Who did they play last? The Saints? What was the last game they played? Oh, Washington.
So long ago. Yeah.
On the road to face New York Giants. Giants are plus 10.5, so back-to-back double-digit spreads. Probably Mike Glennon. Danny Dimes has got apparently some serious issues going on. He's going to see a bunch of specialists. So the Mike...
Other than being bad at quarterback?
Yeah. I don't know if it's the same specialist for that. New York Giants here at home, plus 10.5. This is one of those, there's, like I said earlier, there's 3 or 4 games where it's just like nobody's going to be touching these teams. It's too stinky for the public. So I'm going to take the Giants. I also know the Cowboys are very capable of just dismantling the Giants. I mean, heck, the Giants lost by 20 plus against the Chargers last week. But I just think that's a lot of points for a home dog in a division against a rival. It's just, this is when the weird shit happens. You get some random punt return touchdown, something, and it's enough for the back door. And you're sitting there at the end of the game thinking, like, the Cowboys have dominated. How did they not cover 10.5? So give me the Giants at home.
So I think no Tony Pollard, which means Ezekiel Elliott, who hasn't been good since about week 5.
He looks half speed, doesn't he?
Yeah, he looks not good. I can tell you that. Dak Prescott's in a weird rut right now too, making strange decisions that you don't normally see him make. I'm gonna take the 10.5 home dog too, and just hate myself either way.
Yeah,
I could be talked into just scoring 3 points in this game and losing 30-3. Or I could be the Cowboys losing like 20-17 somehow. So just give me the 10.5 and I'll roll on with my life.
No matter what the outcome, do you think Dak has clinched the comeback player of the year? Or do you think he's still...
Just because it was so grisly, I guess.
Who else? Is there anybody else at the top of your head that you can think of? Because Christian McCaffrey didn't come back, and Barkley hasn't really played half the season.
Yeah, I don't know who else it could be at this. I'll think of somebody as soon as we up here.
Joe Burrow.
Burrow. But they're like just so up and down. I don't know. I'll think of somebody when we hang up.
All right.
By the way, I've decided I'm locking the Lions.
Okay. All right. Go for it. Next game up, Tennessee Titans 9-4 on the road face Pittsburgh Steelers 6-1. Steelers are plus 1.5. Titans coming off their bye last week took care of business against the Jags. Although I feel like almost anybody could have just beaten up on the Jags, who are probably ready to lay down. But either way, the Titans won that by 20. Steelers, they made it a game against the Vikings, but not before just really getting run all over by Dalvin Cook. So Steelers here plus 1.5. This is another super tough one for me. Who do you like on this one?
I really like the Steelers. I don't think the Titans match up well with the Steelers, especially without a functioning Derrick Henry. I think the Steelers are going to be like, all right, we're just going to shut down this running game. Ryan Tannehill, go ahead and beat us in our really good secondary that admittedly got, hasn't looked so good in the last few weeks, but they've had some injuries, guys coming in and out. So they're going to put pressure on Ryan Tannehill, and we've seen Ryan Tannehill, especially this year when it's fallen on his shoulders, hasn't been up to the task. So really like the Steelers here. Give me Pittsburgh. I can't quit the Steelers either. They're just my weakness this year.
Yeah. I initially have the Titans here shown on my pick. I'm going to switch probably to the Steelers. I think as a team that prides itself on stopping the run, and the fact that was a short week for an older team, and we kind of have to take that with a grain of salt. I think now that they have long extra rest, and they're going to look at the tape and they're going to say, look, we're not going to get run on again. And that's absolutely what the Titans are going to probably try and do. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a complete reversal of what Cook did and the Steelers come in at home and just completely stuff the run. So I'll take the Steelers at home as dogs. It's very much like Sean Payton with the Saints. I love the Steelers and the Saints as underdogs. Of course, that didn't work out for them last week against the Vikings, but I mean, almost.
Sometimes you just had shitty days at the office, man.
Yeah, I think the extra rest and wanting the renewed commitment to stopping the run is the recipe here. And I think we really can't take too much away from the Titans' win because that was nothing. I mean, speaking of the Jaguars here, we have the Houston Texans on the road to face the Jags. Jags here minus 2.5, which the only team probably they'd be favored against is the Texans at this point. Both 2-11, so this will decide the number 1 pick, right? Number 2 pick?
Number 2.
Well, I mean, if the Lions beat the Cardinals, right?
No. How dare you?
Okay. Well, Jaguars here, minus 2.5. Urban Meyer still has a job. You have to wonder, is it like the Gase thing where you're just going to ride it out because that's your best chance to just get a top 2 pick? Who do you like?
I mean, how many games are they going to win if they don't have Urban Meyer there?
Yeah. There's
they'll have the dead cat bounce one.
Right. Yeah. You always get one of those.
Well, you lose this game and then you get the dead cat bounce win, and you're still tied for second.
I mean, after last week and the press conferences, and if they were to lose this game, I mean, Meyer has to be fired, right?
He should have been fired a long time.
Well, absolutely. He shouldn't have even gotten the job in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. The real question is he going to get fired, or is he going to be like, my heart hurts, I have to resign?
Yeah. Out of embarrassment.
Look, I'm taking the Texans here.
I'm taking the Texans.
Yeah, I'm also taking the Texans. So that's where we're at. Fuck the Jaguars.
Yeah. To me, and the thing is honestly, I think a team like the Jags have a little bit more talent than the Texans, especially with the Texans. I mean, it's no David Johnson, no running backs outside of Rex Burkhead. It's
here you go, talking about running backs again. Great.
I'm just saying you need somebody. You can't just have a dead body back there.
The Bills don't need anybody.
Yeah, but you have Josh Allen. The thing is the Texans have nobody. It's Brandon Cooks.
Tyrod Taylor? No? I can't interest you in a Tyrod Taylor?
He's not playing. Davis Mills is starting the rest of the season.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, you're right. Now I need to rethink this pick. Damn it. I forgot.
Yeah.
I'm still Texans. Still riding the Texans.
Yeah, I think the Jags have lost 5 straight against the spread. So if they happen to lose this one, I think by default I just have to pick them next week. Do you know who they're playing next week?
It doesn't matter. Probably somebody better than them if I had to guess.
100%. All right. So not much really to talk about that game. It's just going to be a shit show, I think.
They're playing. Oh no! They're at the Jets.
Oh my god! There's your dead cat bounce. They fire Meyer and then they beat the Jets.
Oh god! Of course they'd be playing the Jets next week.
Yeah. What's the line in that one? 2.5 again?
It is just pray that nobody watches this game and did it actually happen.
Yeah. Next game up, Cincinnati Bengals, 7-6 on the road to face Denver Broncos. Broncos here also 7-6. Broncos -1.5 home favorites. Bengals, it seems like ever since they were in the lead for the division right before that Jets game, were looking incredible.
They were the 1 seed in the whole AFC, I think. They were like 2 or 5-3.
The last month has not been good.
Nope.
The Broncos, conversely, I think have played a lot better over the last month. I think, of course, they had that disappointing loss against the Chiefs, but nobody's really going to hold that against them. But they looked really good against the Lions last week, running all over them. Of course, 2-headed rushing attack. I'm going to take the Bengals though. I just can't shake the first half of the season. I just still have this image that the Bengals are a pretty good team, and I still think the Broncos are not as talented. I look at the talent on the Bengals and I see Jamar Chase, I see Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, and it's just like that seems a lot better to me than Teddy Bridgewater. And I'm not so sure the Broncos will have a lot of success running the ball in the Bengals. So the Lions matchup worked out super well because it's like, okay, well, the Broncos can just run the ball and should be very successful at it. And they were very successful against the Cowboys. I'm not so sure where the Bengals are right now defensively against the run, but my impression is that they're fourth best or fourth worst?
Best.
Okay, so I think that's a really good sign. And that's why I'm taking the Bengals.
I really thought you were about this game coming up. I was like, Lewis is gonna lock the Broncos. Just that was my initial thought. I just have such a bad feeling. Like I have no feel for the Bengals whatsoever.
Yeah.
They beat the Lions, they beat the Ravens, lost to the Jets, lost to the Browns, beat the Raiders, beat the Steelers, lost to the Chargers, lost to the Niners. So they just keep swapping 2 wins, 2 losses, which if they hold to that pattern, then they'd win this game. On the road, 1-1, 3-1, 3-2, 4-2, 4-2 on the road. I've got the Broncos picked right now. I'm probably going to stick with it, but I don't feel great about it. The Broncos, I kind of feel like they're just steady and they're just in every game.
Yeah.
So the Bengals, I know what you're getting. Like last week was such a debacle for the Bengals, and they fought all the way back. They get to overtime, they take the lead in overtime, and then they give up the walk-off touchdown. So I feel like I kind of know what I'm going to get out of the Broncos. That Kansas City game you mentioned, they lost 22-9. Okay, I think there was, if I remember correctly, something really weird happened in that game that broke in Kansas City's favor. So I'm just going to take the Broncos right now and think about it all week.
So, I know that we're already past this, but like this was another thing, thinking back to that Bears-Packers game, when the Bears punted and that ball...
Let's go back to the first 2 minutes of this podcast.
The ball bounced off the Packers and the Bears guy recovered and essentially had a walk-in touchdown. and it went from another 7 points for the Bears to he was barely pushed out of bounds, and then that's on the Bears. And it's just like, come on.
Let it go, man. Just let it go.
Frustrating. Next game up, the Atlanta Falcons, 6-7, coming off a big win over the Panthers. It seems like every time you want to count out the Falcons this season, they're just sticking around. On the road to face San Francisco 49ers. Niners here minus 8.5 after taking care of the Bengals last week. Trey Lance, forever the worst draft pick I've had in fantasy. Just infinitely frustrating. That guy's not going to play at all this year, and I wasted all that draft capital. But
how much did you draft? How much did you draft him for?
I think it was $27 because I was convinced it was going to be like a rich man's Taysom Hill for at least half the season, but instead I've got a sunk cost with a guy sitting on my bench not producing anything. But
I wish I'd been at that draft. I probably would have looked at you and said 28.
I might have kept going up. It was so stupid. I'm taking the Falcons here plus 8.5. I don't like Shanahan as a favorite, and I feel like every time, alternatively, you kind of think the Niners are putting it together this season, they disappoint. So I'll take the Falcons plus 8.5. I just think that's way too many points for this Niners team that's not been that consistent.
Yeah, I snap picked the Niners here just because of how well they've been playing, having won 4 out of 5 and won by 21, by 20, by 8, and then the march down the field to win in overtime after having been up 20-3. That loss at Seattle's troubling. I hate this Falcons team, man. They're so bad. They're so bad. Why are they 6-7? Before I get to my pick, though, Niners finished the year. They fought back to 7-6. Good for them. They were 2-4 at one point. They were 3-5. They finish just cake. Home for Atlanta, at the Titans, home for the Texans, and then they at the Rams, which is probably going to be for the 5 seed, and the loser's probably going to get the 7 seed.
So they're a lock for the playoffs. I mean, they get to 9 wins probably.
It's more likely that they're 10-6 headed into that game than being 8-8.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to lose any of the next 3.
I mean, it's definitely. Sorry, go ahead.
I need to apologize. There's a Thursday game next week. It's Niners at Titans. My bad. That's right here.
Okay.
At any rate, I'll take the Falcons too. I hate this. I really wanted the Niners. You're right. Too many points.
All right.
Falcons somehow competent. Don't get it.
I'm locking the Falcons. Is that my second or third?
That's your second.
Okay. Third one coming.
I was the Niners, and then you talked me all the way off that ledge. Good for you.
Next game up, the Green Bay Packers, coming off, of course, another impressive win. Aaron Rodgers in primetime on the road to face Baltimore Ravens. Ravens here plus 4.5. Obviously, no Lamar Jackson. Huntley, I believe, is the starting quarterback. And the Ravens here plus 4.5. Who do you like in this one?
John Harbaugh's so great at home, right? That's his whole thing. He's great at home. 4.5-point underdog. But at some point, your injuries are just way too much, right?
Tell me.
I've got the Packers. I'm taking the Packers. They're just better. They're healthier. They're fighting for the 1 seed. The Ravens are just fighting to, stay afloat until maybe they can get Lamar back. I'll take the Packers.
I love that the Packers are on their way to a home field advantage, only to probably disappoint again in the NFC Championship. I'm taking the Ravens here plus 4.5, and I am
don't blame me.
locking the Ravens. This is my third lock. I mentioned several times before, there's 3 or 4 games this week where it's just like nobody wants to put any money on these teams. It's super contrarian play. I love it. I think given how last week unfolded, it's the perfect time to play these teams. So give me the Ravens plus 4.5. Huntley, I think showed something coming back against the Browns last week. I know Jared Alexander is probably going to come back soon from what I've heard. I think Douglas has been a pleasant surprise for the Packers and really been the difference in... I keep thinking every week somebody's going to take advantage of that secondary, but he's one of the big reasons that they haven't. But I still think the Packers don't have a really good rush defense. Ravens, of course, number one thing they'll probably do is trying to run the ball all over the Packers. So I think run the ball a lot, keep the game short. This game is like 21-17.
Packers 9th best rush defense in the league. Can I interest you in Ravens being first pass defense? Because all of their guys are out for the season.
Not ideal.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, no Marlon Humphrey, no dude they traded for from the Rams a couple years ago.
Peters?
That used to be Chiefs. What?
Marcus Peters?
Yeah, there you go. I'm taking the Packers. I don't feel great about it just because Harbaugh and the infrastructure at home getting 4.5 is pretty tasty.
Yeah, love it.
They're not going to be able to run the ball at all in this game, period. So it's like Tyler Huntley throwing to Mark Andrews and trying to hit Hollywood Brown on deep shots. Like, that's going to be their
Rashad
offense.
Bateman, probably. But, yeah.
It just seems like a problem. Fine, Rashad Bateman, who's done nothing. Great.
He was injured the first 2 months of the season.
And then he's come back, and it's been like, hey, I'll catch 3 balls for 41 yards.
All right. Next game up, Seattle Seahawks on the road to face Los Angeles Rams. Rashad Penny making good on that 2018 draft pick 3 years later. And the Rams, looks like whether it's Sony Michel, Darrell Henderson, the offense is almost unstoppable. They had that kind of lull in the middle of the season after taking off the first half. I think they're rounding back into form. I'm not going to be sold on them completely because I'm just always going to be a little skeptical, but this may be the team that at this point it's almost like a little bit of a dark horse, but I think they're still probably a little too good for that moniker. Seahawks on the other side, they looked really good against the Texans, so I don't know really what to take away from that other than...
Against who?
The Texans?
Yeah. That's my point.
Yeah.
The Texans.
I'm taking the Rams here. The Seahawks defense still, I think, sucks. No Jamal Adams. I don't even know if that matters.
Not that he's any good.
Yeah. So give me the Rams minus 6.5 at home.
Yeah, so I'm going to lock the Rams, Lewis.
Love it.
The Rams have only struggled against playoff teams. They lost to the Cardinals by 17. They lost to the Titans by 12. They lost to the Niners by 21. They lost to the Packers by 8. All 4 of those teams are either playoff bound or almost playoff bound, or almost headed to the playoffs by the time the season's over. Like, I think all 4 of those teams are making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Titans could end up falling out. So I love the Rams here. The Seattle is definitely not a playoff team. Good for them for winning last week, but it's been a struggle all year for them. So no thanks. Give me the Rams.
Yeah. And of course Tyler Lockett has shown up for you.
You had to kick him in to make roster space.
No, I'm seeing right behind. If it wasn't for Trey Lance, he would be the number 1 worst draft pick for me this year. Just anytime you need him, he's not there, and then it's just like, okay, when you're on the bench, you do something. Good for you. I'm never drafting that mother effer again.
What a thing to say about a guy with 62 catches for 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, and almost none of that was useful for me. So
Why is it like DK Metcalf way worse? 56 for 753. He does have 8 scores, but
yeah.
God, bad.
Sunday night game, New Orleans Saints, Taysom Hill on the road to face Tampa Bay Bucks. Bucks here 10-3 minus 10.5 home favorites.
Do it.
No, I mean I'm taking the Saints just because it's a lot of points.
Yeah.
And this is a divisional, a lot like the Giants Cowboys matchup. 10.5 for a divisional rival is a lot, and I mean it's really hard to bet against the Bucks almost any week though, because look at last week, 3.5 point favorites against a really good Bills team, and they still take care of business, and it's just like you're almost just better off playing the Bucks every week and taking your lumps here and there. But I'm just going to roll with the Saints because I know they play the Bucks tight almost every time.
Yeah. This was maybe my best call of what has been a really bad season picking football games for me. They played in New Orleans on Halloween, and I just said weird shit happens on Halloween. In New Orleans won that game. Unfortunately, I think that was the game that Jameis Winston got hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you on the Saints here. It's just too many points. And if the Saints are going to be able to just do funky stuff with Taysom Hill at quarterback and just they're going to muck it up. And I think I'm going to win my Saints DVOA defense bet against you from next season. So it's just too many points. Divisional game. I like the Saints here with a good defense.
The only hesitation is it seems almost too obvious. Much like the Raiders Chiefs last week. It's like, oh yeah, why wouldn't I?
It seems to only be obvious to us.
No, I'm saying like it has to be generally obvious that the Saints are the play here. And to me, it feels
60% taking the Bucks.
I mean, a lot of people love Brady. Maybe it's just going to end up even. But I'm just saying, as far as sharp plays, it seems like one of the most obvious sharp plays. I don't know.
Great. I want to be on their side every time.
It's just the Raiders' loss against the Chiefs last week just left a bad taste in my mouth. What can I say? Yeah. Although I wish I would have seen the midfield pregame. Then I probably would have switched.
Idiots, man.
Last game of the week, Monday night. Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins in primetime, on the road to face Chicago Bears. Bears here plus 3.5 home, underdogs. Man, this is tough because the Vikings, every time they look good, it's like they crap the bed. You don't want any part of them as favorites. The Bears here haven't shown you anything to get excited about. But they're at home, and it's Kirk Cousins in primetime. Who do you like in this one?
This is by far and away the toughest pick just because it's Kirk Cousins in primetime. When I first saw it, I was like, hell yeah, Vikings. And I was like, oh no, it's Monday night. God. What? The Bears can't do anything, though. God. Bears. I'm taking the Bears. You can't trust Kirk Cousins. Taking the Bears.
The great thing about this game is even if the Vikings are up 21 or down 21, they're gonna make you sweat the 3.5 out.
Yeah. Doesn't matter which side you have. It's coming down to the wire.
Absolutely. I'm taking the Vikings just because I think at some point they have to shake the knock against them being favorites. I mean, they have been one of the more statistically dominant teams all season. It's just that mentality of not putting teams away on top of that. It's just very bizarre. But I'll take the Vikings. I think they shake it. They stay in playoff contention. My God. I just don't. I really wouldn't wish I didn't have to pick this game. I just don't want to touch it.
So stick with me here, okay? The Vikings have played 13 games. How many of those have resulted in 8 points or fewer as the final margin?
12.
12. It's fucking 12.
Go
so
figure.
dumb.
Go figure.
It's so dumb. Oh, God. Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Bears. I'm probably going to flop at some point, but right now I've got the Bears. Hate it.
Here's something for you. Vikings at home 4-2 against the spread. On the road 2-5 as road teams.
Great, awesome. Bears, I wish they were like 6.5.
Yeah. All right.
Dog to win outright. Who you got? Is it cheating to take the Raiders? It feels like cheating.
I mean, if go for it. Not gonna be my pick. I'm gonna take Washington.
Yeah. See, that was my pick. If you're gonna call me out for cheating, so I won't. We won't do that then.
You can take the Raiders. Because
right.
To me, I don't think they're gonna even win.
Okay. Well, then I'll take the Raiders.
All right.
Okay. Highest scoring team you won last week. Who you got?
I will take the Cardinals.
Okay. Well, then I need the Lions to put up like 25, I guess. I'll take the Rams.
Good.
Random bet, you've got the leading scorer in Pat's Colts will be a kicker, which is a lot of fun. Take Taysom Hill will account for 2 touchdowns, but will account for more turnovers.
So more than 2 touchdowns.
No,
more than 2 turnovers.
Correct.
Okay.
But in order for me to get this correct, he has to have more turnovers than touchdowns.
All right.
Are you going to shout out me for winning the Survivor or not?
Now that you made it. Yeah, congrats on winning Survivor. That was, 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah, however it was, you guys suck.
Yeah, well played, sir. Well played. I was out in week 4. And the thing is like, I think I'm so smart when it comes to Survivor, and I was like the second team out, so I know nothing. It's always like you have to balance between taking the easy, obvious picks and then not taking those on the right weeks, because it's like, it's at least 4 weeks a year where the top pick team is wiped out. So,
okay, we need to eliminate 3 teams from each conference.
All right, who do we have already?
Well, we eliminated the Dolphins. That was the first podcast I did that by myself, and but they're still out of it as of now. In the AFC we've eliminated the Jags, Texans, Jets, and Dolphins.
Well, let's add the Raiders to that.
Okay. So now it's going to get tough. So we're going to have to take a team like the Steelers.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Somebody from the North has to go.
Go ahead and eliminate the Steelers.
Oh, boy. I hope Chris doesn't watch this. So then it's like Broncos, Browns, Bengals.
Broncos, I feel pretty good because I think it's either Chargers or Chiefs.
I'm with you on that one. I want to eliminate the Broncos more than I want to eliminate the Steelers because they're only a game and a half out of the division. Okay, in the NFC, we've eliminated the Lions, Washington, the Giants, and the Seahawks. Feel great about all of those.
Yeah, I think you can add the Bears and the Panthers and the Falcons. Because I think even if the Falcons were somehow to win this week, I don't think they have enough juice. What do you think?
So you'd rather eliminate the Falcons than the Eagles?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about the Saints? How are we feeling about the Saints?
Yeah, we can take them off too. Whatever.
Dude, can you believe the Falcons are 6-7 and their point differential is minus 108? That tells you just everything you need to know about them. All right, I'm with you. I'll take the Falcons too. So, thinking, just looking at the playoff picture, are we thinking that we're getting 3 out of the NFC West and then 1 of the Vikings, Falcons, Saints.
I think the Vikings make it. So, yeah.
Okay. And then the AFC, the Bills, the Chargers. So then who's the other wild card? It's Colts, Browns, Bengals, Steelers, Broncos.
I mean, that's a tough one. I would guess AFC North. I have to plug my computer in. Give me 1 second.
You're fine.
I mean, it's just like the AFC has just been a mess this year, so you could talk me into anybody.
Well, let's put this on paper. AFC wildcards. Who are you thinking right now? Bills and Chargers.
Okay.
Is that who you're thinking?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So then your third one is who?
Probably. I mean, we already eliminated the Titans are 9-4. I have to think, what, 1 or 2 more wins?
Yeah, they're gonna make it. So you need to come up with a third wild card here.
Well, then it'd have to be the Colts. If it's either it has to be the Colts or the Titans.
Talking about something different. I need you to pick your 3 wild card AFC playoff teams here.
Yeah, I'm giving you a wild card. It has to be either the Colts or Titans, right?
No, the Titan. One of them is winning a division. So you're out. But you just. So are you changing that now? You don't think it's Browns or Bengals?
I'm just saying, it's tough because it's like the division winner is one of the top 4, so one of the 3 wild card has to be the non-division winner, and that's what I'm saying. I think
none of the 3 wild cards win their division. Just
right.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's going to be the Colts or the Titans. Well, I don't understand why that's a big deal.
Well, because you said I think it's somebody from the AFC North, and now you're talking about some AFC South.
Well, but because I forgot about the Colts and the Titans.
Okay, so you're just going to go AFC South.
Yeah.
Okay. God, that means we're the same because I've got the Colts. So.
All
right. NFC, your 3 wildcard teams are.
Let's go.
The Vikings. You're taking Rams, Niners, Vikings.
I think actually the Rams win the division now, so I'll take the Cardinals and the Vikings and the Niners.
Okay, I'm going to take Rams, Niners, and then I'm going to go Washington.
All right.
Just backdooring their way in there. The reason I'm thinking the Cardinals win the division is they go at Lions, home for Colts, at Cowboys, home for Seahawks. Like that's 2 wins for sure there. Probably the Lions and the Seahawks.
Yeah.
So then the Rams are going to have to basically be flawless to overtake them. Because they split the season series.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I think you're going to have one team kind of upset.
Rams, home for Seahawks, at Vikings, at Ravens, home for Niners.
Yeah, they could go 4-0 if they want.
Oh, okay. That'll be fun.
All right. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, I'm done with my games. I'm set.
All right. Okay. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at TPP Sweet Lou. Kyle is at KVerska7. Email us at 3pointplaypodcast@gmail.com. Most importantly, hit that thumbs up, ring the bell to subscribe and catch more content when it drops on a weekly basis. We'll be going all the way to the Super Bowl because even after Pick'em, we'll be picking spreads in the playoffs. So look for that, at least 2 more months of action. And other than that, Kyle, good luck this weekend. Seize the car.
Yeah. Feels great to be back. The quest to get back to 500 is underway. Let's go, baby. Thanks for.
All right. Let's make sure this. Pulls up.